Today we are not. Next one. We're not. Ready to go? Yes. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the work and action meeting of the Bogota Board of Education for Tuesday, November 14th, 2023. May you please stand for this flag salute. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of the public bodies at which any bodies affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Bogota Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted on the Bogota Borough Hall, communicated by letter to the record, filed with the clerk of the Borough of Bogota, and posted on the Bogota Board of Education website. Also present tonight is Superintendent Damian Kennedy, a replacement attorney Drew Krause. Thank you very much. For Thomas Colvin, School Business Administrator and Board Secretary Irfan Efsil, Board Secretary Elizabeth Ruiz, and we have no student representative tonight.
And the roll call, Mrs. Alvarez. Absent. Mr. Alvarez. Present. Mr. Chavez. Present. Mrs. Cruz.
Present.
Mr. Navarro.
Present.
Mrs. Olivo.
Present.
Mr. Ortega.
Present.
Ms. Record is absent. Mr. Miranda.
Present.
We have the quorum.
Presente. For the record, Idalia Alvarez is working tonight, as she does night school, and Mrs. Ruckett is out in San Francisco for job duties, so they excused themselves this evening. I'd like to open the floor hearing on citizens on agenda items only. Do I have a motion?
Olivo.
Mrs. Olivo, do I have a second?
Alvarez.
Mr. Chavez, any board discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? If there's any member of the public who would like to address agenda items only, please come forward. Speaker, please state your name and street address. You have 5 minutes. Nothing? Yeah. No one? Yes.
Susan Harper.
Yeah, Susan Harper, 344 River Road in Bogota. I can't look at the agenda because the website isn't a mobile friendly website. Okay, so when I'm trying to look at it on my mobile phone, it doesn't, like, where the links are to the agenda and to the board minutes, you can't access them when you're on mobile. So I wanted to just point that out. Because there may be something on the agenda I wanted to address, but I can't necessarily see it. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I'll refer to the IT department and look into that, please. Anyone else?
No.
May I have a motion to close hearing of the citizens on agenda items only? Mr. Alvarez, do I have a second?
Chavez.
Mr. Chavez, any board discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Moving on to section 3.1 of the agenda, superintendent's report. Mr. Kennedy?
Okay, good evening. First of all, we've had 4 HIBs this month, 2 at Steen, 1 at the middle school and 1 at the high school. All 4 of them were unfounded. Just so that the community knows, Steen School is currently conducting a traffic study. We're looking to figure out some help in the morning to figure out if there's anything that we could do on our end that can help with drop off and pickup. So we're going to be doing that, and also at Bixby. The initial harvest from the Healthy Meals Grant has yielded 2 large bins of salad in under a month, which was delivered to the cafeteria and will be used this week. It was pretty cool. I'm going to send out some pictures, but it literally grew in 3 weeks. Like, you cannot believe how big it got. It looks pretty good. The Bixby Playground is now open to the public. We will be hosting a small veterans assembly tomorrow at 10 a.m. in front of the high school. So any board members, if you're able to sneak away from work, it only is going to be about a half an hour. Also next week, the auditor will be here to present the findings from the 22-23 school year. And then just some 2 grant alerts. The U.S. Department of Justice has officially notified Bogota Public Schools that we have been awarded the grant of $479,488 through the 2023 COPS Office School Violence Prevention Program. This highly competitive federal grant initiative is a testament to our district's commitment to enhancing security measures across all 4 of our schools. It's worth noting that only 206 districts nationwide received the grant, and Bogota was one of 3 New Jersey schools to receive it. So in addition to that grant, we also received the New Jersey High Impact Tutoring Grant for the amount of $76,000. This was a very specific grant geared towards 3rd and 4th graders to provide high dosage tutoring, free tutoring to our students after school. So kudos to Mr. Chang, but the COPS grant is a tremendous grant to receive, and we're talking close to $500,000 that's going to help provide security measures in all 4 of our schools. So again, big time shout out to Mr. Chang on that, because he is our grant writer. That concludes my report.
Can we ask questions about that?
Sure.
Yeah.
Just a couple of things. Absolutely wonderful, Mr. Chang. Thank you very much for all the hard work that he does on getting all these grants for us. I noticed that in the COPS grant, you had, or whoever wrote it out, had mentioned that the funds were going to be used towards enhancements to the surveillance systems, cameras, with aim of minimizing blind spots on school premises and enhancing the visual quality of the existing footage and upgrades to communication equipment. There was also a notation there that it could be used for other kinds of enhancements. Do you have could you give me an idea of what those other enhancements might be?
Yeah, so part of this grant also is going to help with our vestibules in all 4 of our schools. It will help pay for some of that. So new doors, I didn't want to mention everything in our grant because it comes down to security.
No,
So
it's also, that really doesn't go, although it is a very large amount, it doesn't go far. And I know our parents have all been very concerned about our entranceways, and that's really where you hit the nail on the head for me. That's where our where I was going with that. If any of those extra funds would be used towards kind of that.
So just to be clear, yes, a specific money can be used for that grant. We couldn't use it for new construction, correct? So we can only use it for certain parts of it, existing and things like that. So anything new, we have to use that of capital reserve, but this will help minimize the cost to the district.
I mean, we're a small community, and I really do appreciate the presence at the front door. Honestly, I haven't been able to visit Bixby or Steen, or in the middle school when I've gone, it's always been after hours. So I'm not sure what it's like during school hours, but I do appreciate the presence of individuals there. The friendly faces that we see, and they're actually faces that most of us are familiar with as parents. So I'm very grateful to that, but I know that has been a concern in the past. I also don't want it to feel, I don't want to offend anybody when I say this, for our students, I don't want it to feel like they're just being policed and that they have no, that they can't do any, not to say that they're looking to do anything malicious or anything bad, but like they're every step, Big Brother's always watching, and sometimes that makes you feel as if you can't even be yourself. So one of the, you mentioned that we want the kids to concentrate on, education and their improvements, but I just don't want our children to end up feeling like they're in some type of box where that's all they're being done is, the eye is on them. for that. So that was just my comments, my personal comments on that, for the COPS grant. For the high impact tutoring grant, it was 76,000. In there, I read that it prioritizes on 3rd and 4th grade. So is that specifically just those two?
Yes, it was a very specific grant from the DOE that this is the group that was identified that were impacted mostly during COVID because of their reading ages. So that's why it was presented to those grade levels.
Okay, all right, thank you. Going back to the again, my comment is not to make, I know that we do our best here and I appreciate that everything that we do to make our children feel safe, but at the same time, sometimes, and I've always felt this from very young, from being a very young parent, I think our children's voices always need to be heard. And sometimes it's through parents that they have to be. So I just wanted to voice that for them. That was it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Trina. Anyone else? To that point, just so that people know what the vestibule conversation is about. And while I do agree to an extent, Ms. Olivo, people struggle too when they don't feel safe. So, and staff. So I don't know if anyone remembers last year, someone was let in, or not, the previous person was let in, the second person threw a book bag into the door and ran into the school and pulled a fire alarm. We became increasingly concerned because if someone wanted to, this was just, in my words, a clown, but would someone have been serious, there's 2 doors to the right, 2 child doors, right? I think like 40, 50 kids. They could have created a serious problem for us. And thank God in this case, they took off, they ran, but that could have been so. What we recognize, some schools don't have a vestibule. So it's like, is it perfect? Probably not, but at least you have enough time to buzz them in twice and pay attention to why they're there and if they're there with good purpose, right? Because I think we've learned over and over again that when people want to create or wreak havoc in a place, you kind of see them a little jittery, a little finical. They start looking around, and those few minutes can change the course of action. And because we have SLEOs with, officers with guns, they're behind that vestibule somewhere in the building. It can detour someone from being locked in between 2 areas. So that's why those vestibules came in. They were a lot of money. We were looking into it. We were still going to try to do it on our own dollar, but this grant came in and it's going to help us a great deal. And it's not footing the bill. So it's a really good thing. And there's a lot of other things. When you look at technology to the point where Ms. Olivo mentioned about being boxed in, well, technology today allows you not to feel that way. It's watching you in a whole nother way. We were at the board of Ed convention, and AI, today can almost like see you down the hallway and almost predict your actions, which is weird, but it's real. It's the future. You're not constantly reprimanding, you're almost knowing. So it's a weird thing. We don't know where we're at, but just to give people clarity. Moving on to resolution 4.2, approving of the minutes, October 17, 2023. If there's any discussion, any suggestions, any concerns from the board? No. Moving on to 5.1, resolution on the policy section. Did anyone see anything? Am I skipping something? I did 4.2. Oh, sorry. Can I just go back for the record? 4.1, which is approving of the minutes October 10th on the public work meeting, open session. Does anyone have any concerns? We went over 4.2 just for clarity. 5.1 policy section, we're all good, right? 6.10, the education portion, which is for education. Does anyone have any concerns? Any discussion? 7.8, personnel section, any concerns? Covers 7.1 through 7.7. Any questions? 8.7, moving on for 8.7, finance section, which is 8.1 through 8.6. You've all reviewed that, I hope. Any questions or concerns? Thank you, board. And we're gonna take action on 2 items. I know it's a work session, but we're gonna take this action. It was advertised as such. And just before I forget, for Mrs. Harper, the reason I was on my phone is that you're right. And Mrs. Olivo as well went on it. So if you saw us on our phone, so IT, we need to look into that. There is no way to look at it, so
Yeah,
help us out here, unless
it didn't pop.
maybe it's
up.
an Apple thing.
Yeah,
It wouldn't pop up.
the only
for
thing
this
that
agenda.
popped up was a notice of work session meeting.
All right, so we'll look into that. Thank you, Ms. Harper. It has to be equal for everyone. 10-1 is the action item on the agenda, which is approval for 10-1. Do I have a motion to approve resolution 10-1?
Motion?
Mr. Chavez, do I have a second?
Mo-
Mr. Alvarez, any board discussion? Irfan?
Mr. Alvarez. Mr. Chavez,
Yes.
Mrs. Cruz,
Yes.
Mr. Navarro,
Yes.
Mrs. Olivo,
Yes.
Mr. Ortega,
Yes.
Mr. Miranda.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Moving on to another action meeting, action item, resolution 10-2. Do I have a motion to approve resolution 10-2?
Motion.
Mr. Chavez, do I have a second?
Second, John.
Mr. Ortega, thank you. Any discussion? Roll call, Mr. Irfan.
Mr. Alvarez, Mr. Chavez,
Yes.
Mrs. Cruz,
Yes.
Mr. Navarro,
Yes.
Mrs. Olivo,
Yes.
Mr. Ortega,
Yes.
Mr. Miranda.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Trina, I work for Mr. Kenny.
Ah,
use it on the front
so maybe there's a setting that,
I don't know,
Show
but
me.
just, we'll look into it.
show me,
Um,
so then it's Frank's too, okay?
yes, I concur. Moving on to our committee reports, 11-1. Is there any committee reports for the board?
Today we had a buildings and grounds meeting. We're on our way to go to the buildings department to have our courtesy review. At this moment, obviously, we will let you know with further detail what is going on, but we are moving forward and we thank everyone for their patience on every matter. And we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chavez. Anyone else? On behalf of BC Rocket and the negotiation committee, I want to thank you once again. We have been praised for doing things rather quickly, not too quick in this turnaround, but quick enough to get things done and keep people happy. We're in a place that we're trying to keep our quality, everyone that matters in Bogota, in our district. We just wrapped up in somewhat shape or form the negotiations with the administrators, which I'm signing off tonight. I want to thank you for that. And I also want to thank Mr. Damon Iglesias and everyone there. We did have it's just how good they are, how fair they are when your request is here and you say, we really just have this, and you get to a real middle ground because you can tell people care. It's never a discussion about all the money or what you can do. It's always about where is Bogota as a place. And, a lot of people complained about where our guide and salaries were. We were probably one of the worst guides in the county. Would you say that? And that's what I kept hearing. And over the last 3 to 4 years, our guide has gotten better than everyone else. And it's true, people want to say we've been able to not increase taxes on the behalf of the Board of Ed. We've, that's been a big fight with Irfan. We have been able to cut some pencils either here or there. Our grants have helped us, the state has helped us, the quality of how we receive monies from the feds and the state, that argument, Irfan is relentless, Liz is relentless, these bills are in order. So when you do that, you kind of find pennies. And we've been able to get that guide up. And I know that people may see teachers as, and forgive me, as second-class citizens, but they're the citizens. I hear that, right? They're the reason that I'm successful, that some of you are successful. They're the reason that the ball rounds, the reason you're in the tournament today, right? And Mr. Kennedy, without that foundation, we simply do not have, strength moving forward in education. So our staff is important, and to any teacher in America, around the world, you're important. Our administrators are important. We saw that first coming. My understanding is that people were pinching for 20-some years, and we were able to do that and then some. So our guide, I heard at the convention several times, wow, your guide you've really come up. You're really a player. You know, whether some people have it in the front, we have it at the end, we have it in the middle. However, teachers look at that, we have really come up. We have really come up, and we're at par with Bergen, with some area, well, a lot of great areas in Bergen County. And I saw that recently because when you have someone who's leaving and then they come back, that tells you a lot, right? It tells you that people want to stay in Bogota. And we really appreciate your commitment. And I just say that because you have to empower our administrators to continue to think like that and to continue to serve our district. So thank you to them. We opened up the playground. We had for Bixby, we had a ribbon cutting. There were a lot of kids there, a lot of parents there. And I know what it means to me. You know, I come from East Harlem. My playground didn't have rubber bars. My wrist broke. I can tell you, everybody, having a playground where I come from was a real rare thing. Instead, you got on the train on 103rd and you drove to 91st Street so that you could play in the really nice playgrounds in, Lower Manhattan. So when you get to see that and you put this playground up, and these are some of the residents who are coming from the same areas, you see those smiles on those kids and the kids and the faces and the thank yous from the kids, and they want to do the ribbon cutting. So I don't know what it means to a lot of people, but it means something to me. And I had the opportunity to enjoy that in our first playground in Steve. Now you have playground in Bixby, and I can only imagine what these fields are going to bring upon Bogota. And I hope that we have enough gold shovels for the entire community to come throw a party, because it's finally something. And I used to say that if you look at my voting record in the past, when I was down at the council, I used to always say, I can't believe that I come to this town, I pay all these taxes, I do all this, and I almost rather go back to Harlem and box in Harlem Club, because I had a little better. So, because if you look at the so-called rec center, it's not a rec center. It's a small foul building. Anyway, so I'm glad we're able to give people something back, and it's coming through grants. It's coming through Chang. It's coming through all the areas. That's it for me. Anything else? I'm moving on to old business. 12.1, is there any old business? Moving on to 13.1, new business. Okay, let's open on, I was actually doing those on purpose.
I'm not sure if it's new business though. Speaking of the field, just a quick question. It was just asked of me when I was at the band.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, the band did a fabulous job. I enjoyed it completely. Go ahead, say what you want.
No, you say.
No, go ahead, because
It was
you were there
it was my
all.
first time.
You were there the whole time.
Guys, so no matter what happens moving forward, I'm a bit conflicted in this, and I will step from away. But when you come from where, and I have to say this, right? And whether I want to hear myself or not, whether you want to hear it, when you come from where I come from, there is no pride. It's just everybody fences for themselves. Everybody does what they want to do. And you're almost flight and frisk, part of like we own anxiety in New York. You're more worried about what's going to happen to you on your way home. And there's no pride. There is no pride. I play basketball. And I have to defend myself from my own teammates. Play baseball. But Pagoda, they have a lot of pride. It's real pride. And my wife will attest to this. I was like, really? We're gonna go in this cold weather, and we're gonna sit on these beaches, we're gonna watch band. I'm not kidding, for the band festival. And then I'm there, and there's witnesses. I became extremely, and it's happened to me at the football games. It's happened to me at the baseball games. But band brings music. When you have music, it thumps in your inner being. Those drums thump in you. Guys, we are performers. We are performers. I saw Clifton. I saw these really big bands. And I just want to teach you the ratios, right? You have 1,200 kids in some school district, high school kids. So not the whole district, high school. And they had 89 band players. You had some that had 1,700 with 88 band players, right? Then you had some that were 700 with 60 band players. We are 402. Is that number 404? See, I know some of my record. And we have almost 60 band members, right? Oh my God, so just so you know, this is very biased. Do the best you can. Whatever we can for any of our programs. Some of these programs come out with a real stand-up. They come out with art. Let's get involved as a board. I beg you, please. If you go out there, for those who haven't been there, just like I did it, I will never not go to another thing like that in Bogota. It was a lot of fun. It was cold. It didn't matter. What our band did, you gotta understand, I've been watching them at the park. I said, they're a little novice here or there, right? I made fun of my son in such a, in a nice way. And when you watch these kids come out and perform, in my opinion, they were top 6 out of 20, 1920. They were top 6 with almost nothing compared to the first 5, guys. The first 5 had everything from, I think, Genie, Star Wars, this, that. Our
Short of
music,
fireworks, right?
but yeah, that's all they needed. Our music proved that our performance, and kudos to our instructor,
Our
Mr.
band
A.
director. Mhm.
He does a phenomenal job. And if you can go downstairs, once this is done in about 2 minutes, go to that room. They're down there practicing jazz. He's begging my son not to leave the school district because he wants to teach him how to do things. Go and say thank you. Because if you sit up here, I believe you sit up here for Pagoda Pride, go down there and say thank you. What I saw was something I had never seen. It was like college level performance where you see on TV, and our kids perform at anybody's level with a lot less. All right?
I will
That's-
add to that. You're 100% correct on the music. I still remember my band from high school's drum theme. So I can still do it and I can still play it on my hands. I don't know if Damien can, but I can. And Bogota's is also in me, and I will say go band go when it's time to say it. So on that note, to add to the band, it just made me realize something about the parents also. I just want to appreciate the parents that stand by their children, and even some parents that don't have children in some of these clubs and stand by and actually donate their time, donate any monies, donate any foods, because through football season, as the football mom, I had a lot of parents that don't have children in the football program, and that were donating left and right to these children. So parents and the parent clubs of these clubs in our school that help to show the pride, I just wanted to shout them out because a few of them are there.
Absolutely.
And I know we're really in the background. We look a hot mess. We feel a hot mess, but the fact that our children are fed and they look happy and they look so just like in it, that just fills me up with everything. And even though I'd had no children out there performing, I know my mouth was there for each and every one of them. And if I could scream their names, I would have. I'm a last name girl, so it would have been last names for all of them. I think they did a phenomenal job. And I love that our parents are really, really getting into it with them too. So thank you, parents, and those that are out there in Zoom land for it as well. As far as what the other thing with with our field, but the reason the band was that, it was also, something really quick that, I touched on with Frank. He thought of it also. We're so happy and so proud of what we're going to have. Even band parents were talking about it, that it would be great if we can possibly in the future bring a festival to Bogota. So just, that being said, I just wanted to start putting that in people's heads already to keep bringing promotion to our town. It would be great. The one other thing about it, I don't know if it's going to interrupt, and certain senior parents wanted to know, and since I'm a senior parent, I guess that's why I'm asking for them, is the breaking ground of our field going to interrupt graduation?
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. So actually, I'm glad you said that.
I would like to have our hearts broken now to the ticket amounts that we're going to receive to versus later, so that no one has any expectations.
That's,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
the plan
So-
is that. However, I think we need to start maybe talking to Hackensack. They have that park, it's empty. See if we can get permits ahead of time. For everything we're gonna need,
No, we don't, there's no,
we're just not gonna finish by then. I mean, we're.
no, I'm not talking about our. I'm not talking about
I will
theirs.
say this, it's good that you point that
I
out
know.
right now, because that's not something I thought of. But maybe we could talk to the borough and maybe do something
That's
at
what-
Olsen Park or something like
That's
that.
where I was.
Because we have
our-
space there with with the stage, which kind of is a dais. We just got to
What
put
else?
chair.
Oh, the little park?
Yeah, where they have the little stage. We could look to see.
The gazebo?
The gazebo,
The
the
gazebo.
pavilion over there.
Would they go up? I don't know.
Listen, if we have the space and if we can keep it home, I'd rather stay home. But if I understand where, you know, the class that we are,
We got to go down and look and see.
it would be great if we can start thinking about that instead of waiting till last minute. Because I already thought about it and I know parents are thinking we're gonna, you know, the one fear that we always had every year was what? The weather.
Jim.
This year, it's not about weather. It's about, we have breaking ground. You talked about golden shovels. We don't have golden tents. So let's see, you know, let's start that conversation already.
Really good one.
That was it for me. So thank you.
No, good. You know, I mean, we're not up here to steamroll this all the time, right? We have to talk about these things. On November 28th, so one of the complaints that our band folks have, because I hear it, is that sometimes it's really muddy out there.
Go band, go.
Go band, go. And just because I want to throw her under the bus. So when I was there, there were about 5 parents, 6 parents, and we sat, right? And I was complaining about why are negotiations here? This is not right. And I was, you know, complaining, right? They should all come out for all these kids. And when the band started playing and started screaming, you should have heard they came from everywhere. They were all over the place. And one of the biggest tones in the whole was Trina.
Oh, gosh.
I knew right away it was her. I said, there she goes. So thank you, Trina. On November 28th, the planning board, we're presenting courtesy review for the planning board. The reason I bring this up is it is important that everyone knows that the planning board is also an important integral part of the entire borough process with these fields. So November 28th, and maybe we could discuss it with Coben. I think the entire board should go, so he would have to publish something, I think, saying that the board will be present. It won't necessarily be a board meeting, but I think that this is one of the most important parts Bogota has taken in many years, and everyone should be in this little place. Because at that point, we're gonna have big discussions about moving forward, moving these fields forward, because those band kids also said it was muddy. So now with new turf and new fields, they're gonna be able to practice on the football field. You know, so this is a thing for them too. So just putting it out there. I'm all good with that. Moving on to 14.1 section of to open the floor to hearing of the public on absolutely anything. Do I have a motion?
Motion?
Olivo, is that a second, Mr. Chavez?
Yes, sir.
Any board discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much. Is there any member of the public who would like to come up, state your name, street address? You can speak on anything.
Hi, good evening.
Microphone?
We'll be right at the.
Why is that over there?
Hello? Oh. Wow, I could not have planned that conversation better myself.
Oh.
Because I am here, as a band parent, to speak about band things. But first I want to thank you all for coming out tonight. I know, you know, this is a job that is rarely recognized as glamorous. And nobody gets into the board for, you know, fame and recognition, so.
I need your
Thank
name
you.
and address.
Victor Hernandez, 74 Chestnut Avenue. Thank you. Good evening, members of the board. I am here this evening to request new band uniforms on behalf of the marching band program and parents. You know, first, I'd like to talk about some of the positives, right, that I'm seeing, not just with, you know, the band program, but just with my daughter, who's in the band program, social skills, right? Cognitive, you know, development. She's playing music constantly. Her math is getting better. Thank you. All right. Leadership skills. I know she's really taking it serious. Teamwork, time management. She yells at me in the morning to hurry up and get out of the house because I'm late. Currently, our band, well, a little bit about our band. In 2021, we had 36 students. 2022, we went up to 38 students. This year, 2023, we're up to 54 students. So that's almost like a 40% increase from last year to this year. And thinking about that, right, conservatively, so let's say we get another 20%, right? Because we're gonna have some seniors leave, right? That's usually at the end. We're looking at possibly 64 students. And speaking to Mr. Miranda's point about, I was listening to how many at the band festival, I was listening to how many students, right, were in the school compared to how many were in the marching band. And we have almost 15% of our students in marching band. The student interest in marching band is growing, and we'd like to keep up. Currently, we have uniforms that are about 20 years old. Our current uniforms may have served us well, right? But they're showing signs of wear and tear. Our band director, David Abraham, he's doing his best. He's replacing about 3 uniforms per year. However, it's piecemeal. And if we continue this practice, there's going to be no opportunity to get to update those uniforms. It's going to be just the same ones, just some are going to look cleaner and some are just going to be 20 years old. And so by getting new uniforms, it gives us a fresh new look, which will mirror the fresh new look that Bogota schools are getting. We do understand that budget considerations are always at the forefront of our decisions. However, the impact of new marching band uniforms does extend beyond the field, right? They contribute to the overall positive atmosphere and culture within our school, fostering a sense of belonging and pride that extends far beyond, right, the halftime show. This board has shown its commitment to renewing our school facilities and programs. Your work on helping pass the referendum illustrates your dedication to improving Bogota Public Schools. Investing in new marching band uniforms is an investment in our school's reputation and community pride. When our band looks and feels exceptional, it reflects positively on our entire institution. It showcases our commitment to excellence, attention to detail, and the importance Bogota places on the arts and extracurricular activities. We hope you consider supporting our children. The band needs new uniforms. Go band, go.
So here's what I'll say to you. I've been in Bogota since 2010. I was the vice principal of the high school, the principal of the high school, and now the superintendent the last 6 years. So I know exactly what goes into the band. And I will say at no time has the band that I can remember has ever come to us and said, we need new uniforms. So it's not like something that they come to us and Irfin's like, no. So this is definitely something that we could look into. And I know just from a community standpoint, they're at all the parades, they play during the holidays, they play for the senior citizens. So we always say, like, our band has 60 kids, our football team has 30. Right? So we're always like, our band is even bigger than our football team, which is usually the opposite in most districts. So it's something that we hear, and this is actually the first time that someone has come to my attention, and Mr. Miranda called me, texted me, sent me videos several times during the performance telling me that we need to get new uniforms for these kids. So
Guilty.
well, yeah, I heard that. I heard that we're gonna build the pirate ship.
He saw the pirate ship. I said someone stole our pirate ship.
We are Buccaneers, hello.
We need to do something. And I don't know how to say that, but I saw some of the uniforms. I saw it. Like I said, I'll step back. When I asked the board, my son didn't get his overalls, and I had to give him my black socks. They're like 2 inches too short. But that's okay, he gets up, puts on his hat. I think, the hat is really old school. You look at some of these hats these folks have, our uniform is dated. We need to show pride with everything we're doing, to treat this point. Bringing on an event in Bogota, we're not, we're gonna work, meaning I'm gonna push everybody to work to fundraise.
Especially in a new field, right?
But, I think that the board.
I think it's a good opportunity also to redesign the uniform, to make them
Yeah,
flashed out,
that's-
to make them out that way.
That would
You can
be-
have the kids design and present to us which
Yeah,
one they like better.
Something a little
Modern.
Nice.
Yeah, modern, you know,
Let the
something
kids get
that'll
involved with their own
represent
designs.
us.
Classic but modern.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Thank you.
No,
Thank
it's
you.
exciting.
Thanks for coming out. Thank you.
Jackie Termelixetian, 110 Palisade Ave. I just want to add to that really quick since I'm here. I happen to have two kids in the band. My younger one is now in the band. And I wanted to add 2 points. One is, of the older kids in the band, there are not as many. It is a young band. So the fact that they are so good is amazing because they are pretty young. A lot of 8th and 10th graders, which happen to be the years my kids are, that's just a coincidence. But that being said, if we could do new uniforms soon, you have a chunk of kids who will really get the benefit out of them. Of course, we want to support every kid in the band, but because you have a young band, now is a really good time to do it because these kids, we want to keep them in the band, we want them to stay involved, and they would have the benefit of a number of years with new uniforms. Sure, the older kids would definitely get that benefit, but I just want to point that out, that it's interesting that it's a bit of a younger band. And the second thing I wanted to say is, a lot of these kids in this band are multi-talented. They are in the drama club, they are in the art club, they are in sports. They are really multi-talented. They do lots of things. They are in student government. For instance, I mean, the two sports that don't really match obviously are volleyball and football because they conflict. There's a football player who came to the band at the very end and played because he was in the band last year, decided to do football this year, and he played in the show at the festival because he loves it so much too. You can't do both simultaneously, but the band is a very welcoming community. I think Mr. Abraham has really continued that, which started with Mr. McCann, which I'm sure many of you remember Mr. McCann, who for 30 years, I think, ran the band here. And he's the one who established this as such a great program. So I do want to mention that you have cross-country kids in that team, on that band. The boys and the girls are literally, they're Triple Crown winners last year. They are division champions this year. They have some of the best runners in Bergen County. And we want to keep them in the band. And I'm telling you, a lot of those kids are like, oh my God, it's such a commitment. So I just wanted to make that point that you got a really good group of kids. And one of the things, as Victor really, I think, really well said, when you look good, you feel good, right? So just kind of adding to that. Thank you.
That's a no-brainer. You're right.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Jeff.
Absolutely, thank you.
Yeah, look. You know, I think you all know when I believe in something, I don't stop. And I think you all know that about me. My son had told me previous to that. Takes the microphone. So I think at some point we all live a little vicariously through our children.
Oh, I think every day.
And it's an open discussion, right? As we should be as a board. My son had told me initially like, oh, I don't know if I want to do this, a big commitment. And after that night, he said, oh, I'm coming back. So because they're multi-sport, multi-talented kids, I think they have a real competitive edge and they saw what it's about. A lot of them says, shame, it's not a competition, which is rare to hear in today's generation, right? They're like, shame. I will say this, one thing I learned is, and you know, we're at the 8th grade and 9th and 10th, they have friends at high level, grade levels. And they have good friends, like positive role models, and they're communicating better. And that to me is like a feeder to actually having great seniors and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of good to come from your support. But that's all. You have more? All right, let's get them on.
Antoinette,
Antoinette? Just talking.
Antoinette?
Antoinette, we can't hear.
are you there? All right, I'm gonna,
Go on next and then give it time.
Next person.
Susan Harper?
Susan Harper?
Yeah, hi, thank you. So I want to echo what the last two speakers said. My daughter was a former band member. The uniforms are exceptionally old. I was absolutely shocked when I saw the uniforms, when I would go to the invitationals, competitions against, our other towns, just even the surrounding towns. I'm not even talking about towns that have enormous, resources to them. It is time to upgrade these uniforms. It's way overdue. And I regret not even speaking up. I didn't know that nobody has spoken up about this a long time ago. But now it is a good time to look at it again. So that's one. Number two, you had happened, first of all, congratulations on the grants. I think it's absolutely fabulous news. It was also mentioned just about AI. I think that some of you have probably heard about in another town that AI was used to morph some young women's bodies, faces onto nude bodies. And it was really, really horrifying and disturbing. I hope that as our technology is evolving, that our policies are evolving as well, and that we are constantly taking a look at that to protect, our children, and to also put them on notice, what is appropriate behavior and not what is appropriate behavior. And I'm not suggesting that anybody's doing anything like that. I'm just saying that it's important that we keep up with policies as the technology is changing so rapidly. And then finally, just coming back to the fields, again, not the football field, but the baseball field. And Ms. Miranda, you know that we've had a conversation about this, but not really publicly. I'm still not really clear, and it seems like a lot of people still aren't clear as well, of just the impact to the environment on the baseball fields. It would be helpful if the Board of Ed would share just the renderings of which trees may be removed, so that way the public is aware, as this is on public taxpayer Green Acres Park land. Thank you.
So I will say this, we just had a meeting with the architect and the engineers tonight. We are finalizing those plans. I would like to send it to the Bogota Council first, and then we do have a meeting before the zoning board. So I would like to give it to these people first before I share it with the public. I just don't want to put anything out yet until I put it into the people's hands who have to see it first. I don't want other people to have that. So I'm hoping by next week, maybe that we can discuss that a little bit further, but I am sending something to the council tomorrow because they requested an update, and we literally just met with the architects tonight and finalized everything for the 28th meeting. So everything will be clear on what the plan is, and then everyone will have input moving forward.
Absolutely.
That's great.
It's gonna be, Susan, it's gonna be color coded. I think we're trying to make it as clear as day, because there's a lot of information on this plan. There's the drainage, and even myself, I was looking at it, and then there's fencing, and then there's survey line. So what I did for the trees, what I've requested for the trees, I haven't done anything. What I requested was to color code what trees are going, why, what trees are being replanted. I think there's an estimate of like 26 are going down, 27 are coming up, something like that. Something like that.
I think in total, more trees will be added than were taken down.
Yeah, it's not a lot more, but it's there. Some will remain. There was one promise and one commitment from this board based on what the people wanted, is we want to be able to access the other fields. We want to see it. We don't want it to continue. There was a big divide in Bogota between, and we just talked about every reason why we need to enhance sports, enhance this, to keep our kids combined together, no matter where you come from, what walk of life. You're Bogotans and you're Bogota. So we've committed to removing these high fences where no one ever had access, instead into a more 4-foot fence for safety reasons, or 3.5-foot, and gates where people can run and walk and do things, and take the division, take that wall down. Those are big bad words, right? But take that wall down. So we've committed to doing that. In order to do that, there's a lot of things that have to be done. We've also, on behalf of the board, took action on something that needed to be done, which were those baseball fields, right? It's like if I used your pool, to Kennedy's point, and then I gave you a new pool next year, you'd be really happy, right? So that's what we've done but in order to do that, elevation has to occur. So there's a lot of elevation, some drainage and things in order to elevate the whole park to a better standard than your current, completely out of flood, but to improve it, those trees have to come down. There's just no way to wrap dirt around trees. There's just no way to do it. Trust, I've asked, I really don't want to face this question in Bogota that has a tree emblem, right? If we had parks, I just go, right, but we have to remove trees, we have to. But we have committed to replacing trees and save as many trees as possible. Another thing that came up, when you saw the concept plan, there wasn't a soccer field drawn out on the grass side of the baseball field, which there was a whole lot of little things, because I wish people came up and spoke, so we know, but there's a lot of chatter underground in Bogota. And some of the chatter was, oh, they're taking away the soccer field.
Yeah.
The very soccer field that was voted at the council and painted out in 2016. I know, I was there. So we're now doing it again. There's a picture. So just know that we're putting these plans out to the mayor and council tomorrow. We're also giving them to the engineers of the planning and zoning to get ready for a courtesy review. They've been very cooperative with us as of right now. So I think we're okay. So forgive me, we don't want to take trees down. I mean, we have tried to act in every possible way, trap the architects and the engineer. How do we not move the tree? Trees have to come down in order to elevate the grounds and make them look beautiful. And that's all for me. For the PTO of the middle school, kudos to the past PTO. They're doing a good job. The present PTO, I saw something go out that there's a donation to the 8th graders. So kudos to that. Thank you for keep the 8th graders thriving and everybody else moving forward.
Yes, she
And
asked,
Antoinette,
please-
right?
She said, please
And
try
you
again.
have some.
Yes.
Antoinette,
Antoinette? You want to type in that
you could
question?
type your question in.
On the same wave?
She's muted.
I asked her to unmute.
It's not muted though.
It's not on
Yeah,
our
try it.
end. She has to unmute her own.
Can you unmute, Antoinette?
Wait, where's the
Can
question?
you type in your question? Not sure if she hears us.
She does, because she's saying, yes, please try again. She's saying that it's not working for her to unmute.
So tell her to type in her questions under Q&A.
What? I mean, it is technology, right? I did, I told her.
Oh. Can soccer have access to the field house?
Do you mean in the future?
Do you mean in the future?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Yes, of course.
Yes, it's
So,
gonna be,
yes, with our new field,
Yeah.
to be clear.
yeah, they're all gonna play. in
With the
field.
almost new field.
With-
Oh.
oh, yeah,
Right.
Yes, I don't think that'll be a problem.
Should.
it should be.
We'll make it part of. You good?
If you have anything else, just type it in or just give me a thumbs up or okay, or
Antoinette, now with the,
What is
we're
that?
gonna have lights so we can have games at night also.
yes, they never did before. Their
Yes.
belongings would get wet in the rain. Yeah, that is not a problem, I don't think, because they'll be playing on that field. So there are 2 locker rooms there. We'll have to figure something out to make that happen, but I don't foresee that being a problem. All right,
When you
good night.
dis-
You're
Have a good
welcome.
one.
when you
For the,
Discuss lights.
really quick, for the band, it would be ideal to maybe put a proposal together, maybe at our next, like what it is, the cost, and maybe we'll assign a liaison from the board.
Well, I would
like a
definitely,
small committee,
I
so
would
we can
definitely talk to Mr. Abraham.
Yeah,
Get him
I
involved in
agree,
the
that's the
process.
same, with that. Oh, yeah, all good, all good. It would be great to get together, and because we want to know from a fundraising standpoint,
2 quotes, right? That's all you gotta tell them, 2 quotes.
yeah, and just to see how we can help.
to close their contractors, state contractor co-op. I mean,
Nice.
once
Well,
they have it done, I can help to find a vendor too.
Thank you. Thank you, Irfan. And when he says something, he
Yes.
says it. Trina?
No, yeah, I just, before we go, I just wanted to make mention of something. We're all talking about, people donating, giving time and all that. And, I just want to give a real shout out to Dr. Lash with the Halloween, party that he had here, for us, what was it, October 27th? Was that the date? And I saw a lot of things happen. I saw a lot of people were like, oh, the older classmen are not gonna wanna come if families are here and parents. You know what? They did. So for people who said they didn't want, a lot of, maybe not all of them, but a lot of kids dressed up and they came. It was the first time out. I think Dr. Lash did a great job with the support of Miss Amana and the counselors, helping out with donations of decorations and candy, also with the PTO and other parents that came in, and of the students. They came and they volunteered their time. And yes, of course, it's kind of come on, I'll give you your volunteer times, your volunteer hours, but they engaged, they had fun. They joked around a bit. They had fun. They even stayed around for Dr. Lash to the very end and helped clean up. So it was a really good community vibe that I felt for all of Bogota. I hope it does keep for next year, and I hope he does have the energy to have it happen again. It was exhausting, I will say that at the end of the night. I don't think once I sat down, I didn't want to get back up, but it was a wonderful night, and I think he did a great job. And I know he had a lot going on with testing that week, so it was kind of hectic for him. And plus he had us PTO moms kind of talking to him every day, asking him, did you get this? Did you get that? Did you do this? On top of everything else that he had to do. So I think he did a fabulous job with the support that he had also. And I just wanted to make mention of that.
Also, the high school is doing a formal, I believe, in a week
Yeah.
or two.
Yes.
Yep.
And
This Friday.
Dr. Paz told me over 200 kids will be coming.
That was amazing.
Yeah,
Yes.
they're
200
looking forward.
tickets bought already.
Yeah.
So that's confirmed. 200 children confirmed.
And they're doing a special 8th grade dance for those kids.
And the
too.
8th grade, they're all ready for this special dance.
They're just, it's just,
Good things happen. Good things happen.
for students, during the COVID years, and maybe even a couple of years before COVID, there was a less community conversation and activity happening. I see it coming back. I'm so proud of it. You talked about pride a lot. I see it coming on my way out. I don't plan on leaving. I know Coach Appleton made mention that Mikey's leaving, but I'm not. So I actually agree with that. I'm not. I'm here.
We'll
So
pick it in front of you.
you'll pick it. I'm not going anywhere, and I appreciate everyone who gives and gives back, whether or not they have a child here for that. So it's a great feeling and a nice thing to see for our small community.
Thank you. So we're about to close. This is the longest meeting based on pride we've had in a year.
I will just add one last thing too, because we just did finish with fall sports, and obviously cross country did a great job. And it's really funny to me because our girls volleyball team lost in the sectional finals, which is a great year for anyone, which they shut down the town for, and it was considered one of our worst years in the last 13 years. So Mr. DeRupo is going out in January, and he's been having a tough time at it, but just congratulations to all our fall sports. Winter sports starts Monday already.
That's right. Mr.
So-
DeRupo with his 600th win too.
Yes,
for
600
whatever
wins,
as well.
a lot of good stuff.
We have a lot to be proud of here. Yes.
Do I have a motion to close hearing of the citizens
Olivo.
and hearing of the board members?
Chavez.
Chavez, do I have a second?
Second, Cruz.
Mrs. Cruz, any board discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Yeah, that was closing.
Motion.
Olivo.
Alvarez, second.
Olivo.
Olivo, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Good night, everyone.